You've probably done this more times than you realize. You walk into your home after a long, draining day. You drop your keys somewhere you won't remember later. Before you even sit down, you look at your pet and start talking. You explain your day. You complain about someone at work. You say you would not believe what happened. And they just look at you. Focused, calm, present, like your words matter. Pause for a second and notice this. You didn't plan to talk. It just happened. No effort, no hesitation, almost like continuing a conversation that never really stopped. Now here's the interesting question. Why does talking to your pet feel so natural? Sometimes even easier than talking to people. Many people secretly wonder about this, but rarely ask it out loud. Is this normal? Do others do this too? The short answer is yes, and the deeper answer is even more fascinating. Because when you talk to your pet, something important is happening inside your mind. Think about how that interaction feels. Your pet does not interrupt you. They do not correct your story. They do not turn the focus back to themselves. They don't check their phone while you speak. Their attention feels steady, clean, undivided. And in a world where attention is rare, that alone feels powerful. You might even catch yourself narrating small things, explaining why you are late with their food, asking why they are sitting in your spot again, negotiating with them about snacks like they are a stubborn roommate. You know they won't answer with words, but you still speak as if they understand, and emotionally, it feels like they do. This is not silly behavior. Yes, it is a built-in human tendency. Psychology has a simple term for this. It means giving human qualities to non-human beings. The word sounds technical, but the behavior is universal. Children do it with toys. Adults do it with cars, plants, even computers. When something feels emotionally close and dependable, the human brain naturally treats it like a social partner. Your mind is designed for connection. When it finds a safe, responsive presence, even one without words, it fills in the social space automatically. But why pets more than objects? Because pets respond back, just not with language. They answer with posture, eye contact, movement, and tone reactions. Your dog hears the weight in your voice. Your cat notices your breathing pattern. Your bird reacts to your energy level. They are not decoding sentences, they are reading signals. And your brain recognizes that response as real communication. That is why it feels like a conversation, even without vocabulary. Here's something else most people overlook. Talking out loud, even when no human answers, helps organize your thoughts. When feelings stay trapped inside your head, they swirl and grow heavier. When you put them into words, your nervous system begins to settle. Your breathing slows. Your thoughts line up. Pressure reduces. So when you talk to your pet, you are not just chatting. You are regulating your emotions in real time. Let's add another layer. Researchers who study emotional intelligence often find a pattern. People who regularly speak to their pets tend to score higher in empathy and emotional awareness. That means they are better at noticing subtle emotional signals, small tone shifts, quiet mood changes, unspoken tension. They read between the lines of behavior. Why? Because communicating with animals trains this exact skill. Animals do not send clear verbal messages. You learn to observe tiny cues, ear position, tail speed, eye softness, body distance. Over time, your emotional radar becomes sharper. If you can understand feelings without words, your perception is already above average. Now think about emotional safety. Conversations with humans often carry risk, misunderstanding, judgment, disagreement, correction, even rejection. Your brain knows this from experience. But with your pet, that risk disappears. The emotional field feels stable, predictable, warm. Attachment psychology explains something important here. Humans calm down when they feel close to a steady, accepting presence. For many people, pets become that steady presence. Not because pets think like humans, but because they respond with consistency. Their affection does not depend on your status, your success, or your mood. That kind of acceptance is rare. And the nervous system recognizes it immediately. Notice what happens when you speak to your pet in a softer voice. They often come closer. When your tone is heavy, they pause or watch carefully. When your energy lifts, they become more active. This is emotional syncing happening without instruction. No training manual, no shared language, just biological sensitivity. You might think you are the only one expressing emotion in that moment, but your pet is adjusting too. Let's go deeper, because this next part surprises many people. Those who talk to their pets often share a quiet trait. They feel things deeply, not loudly, not dramatically, but precisely. They notice emotional details others skip. They sense tension in a room before anyone speaks. They hear meaning behind tone, not just words. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is high-resolution emotional processing. But here is the twist. Not every environment welcomes that sensitivity. Some people grow up feeling talked over, misread, told they are too emotional, or overthinking. When that happens repeatedly, a person learns to hold feelings inside around others. Then they meet a being who does not shut them down. A pet. No debate, no dismissal, no emotional correction, just presence. For many people, talking to a pet is the first place their full emotional voice feels safe. This often connects back to early emotional patterns. When someone did not feel fully heard as a child, they often grow into adults who value nonverbal understanding more than verbal agreement. Animals offer that naturally. They do not require explanation. They do not demand perfect wording. They respond to feeling, not performance. And this is where the meaning becomes deeper than habit. Talking to your pet is not only about them listening, it is also about you finally speaking without armor. And what that reveals about your inner world is more powerful than most people realize. When you talk to your pet, you are not just filling silence. You are creating a safe emotional space. A space where you do not have to edit your tone, measure your words, or protect your image. With most people, even kind people, there is still a small filter running in your mind. You think before you speak. You adjust how much you reveal, but with your pet, that filter relaxes. That is not childish. That is psychological relief. There is a well-known idea in depth psychology that animals connect us to our most instinctive and honest side, the part that reacts before it performs, the part that feels before it explains. In simple terms, animals remind us of the version of ourselves that is natural, direct, and emotionally true. When you speak gently to your pet, you are often speaking to that hidden part inside yourself too. Think about how your voice changes around them. It becomes softer, slower, warmer. That shift is not fake. It is your nervous system moving from alert mode into safe mode. Your body does not make that change unless it senses emotional security. This is also why many people share things with their pets that they never say out loud anywhere else. Small worries, private frustrations, quiet hopes. It feels easier because there is no social risk attached, no reputation costs, no fear of being misunderstood. And even without words, the response you receive feels real. A closer step, a lifted head, a relaxed blink, a tail movement, a small sound. These are not random reactions. Animals are extremely skilled at reading emotional energy. Studies in behavior science show that many animals can detect stress shifts in human tone and posture very quickly, faster than most people notice. So the exchange is two-sided, just in a different language. Psychologists use a term called co-regulation. It means two nervous systems calming and adjusting through shared presence. Human babies do this with caregivers. Close friends do this with each other. And yes, humans do this with animals. Your breathing slows together, your movements sink, your emotional intensity lowers. That is why sitting quietly with your pet after a hard day can feel more restoring than scrolling your phone for an hour. You are not imagining the comfort. Your biology is participating in it. There is also something called emotional witnessing. Every person has a need to feel emotionally seen. Not evaluated, not fixed, just seen. Pets often fill this role without trying. They stay near when you are low. They do not rush you when you are quiet. They do not demand explanations for your mood. Their presence says, in effect, you are not alone in this moment. For emotionally aware people, that matters deeply. And here's another pattern researchers often notice. People who regularly talk to their pets tend to process emotions instead of avoiding them. Speaking feelings out loud, even casually, prevents emotional buildup. It turns vague inner pressure into clear language. That reduces mental overload. It is similar to thinking out loud while solving a problem, except here, you are solving emotional tension. Let's address a common hidden fear. Some people worry that talking to pets means they are socially disconnected, but most of the time, the opposite is true. These individuals are often highly tuned to relationships. They value sincerity. They look for emotional accuracy. They prefer depth over noise. They are not avoiding connection. They are choosing clean connection. Remember this, needing meaningful response instead of constant response is a sign of emotional maturity, not social weakness. There is also a memory layer involved. Interacting closely with a pet often reconnects you with early emotional experiences, times when affection was simple and direct, before status mattered, before impression management, before every conversation had hidden rules. That memory feeling is powerful, even when you cannot name it. It feels like returning to emotional basics, warmth, loyalty, closeness, calm. That is one reason the bond feels unusually strong. It is not only about the animal in front of you, it is also about the emotional state they allow you to return to. Notice something else. People who talk to their pets often notice micro changes in behavior very quickly. Slight appetite shifts, energy differences, small routine breaks. This level of observation reflects attentional empathy, the habit of watching living beings closely and kindly. The same skill supports strong human relationships too. In other words, this habit is not separating you from emotional skill. It is exercising it. Let's bring it all together. Talking to your pet like they are human does not mean you are confused about reality. You know they are an animal. Your brain knows it too. But your emotional system recognizes relationship signals, attention, response, steadiness, and naturally uses social language in that space. It is the mind's way of meeting connection where connection exists. The behavior looks simple on the outside, but the psychology underneath is rich. It shows comfort with emotional expression. It shows sensitivity to nonverbal signals. It shows a nervous system that knows how to seek regulation instead of suppression. It shows the ability to form bonds without needing constant verbal feedback. Those are strengths. In a world that often rewards emotional distance, staying emotionally open is not common. Many people slowly shut down their softer responses after disappointment or stress. They become guarded, efficient, careful, but if you still speak gently to a creature who cannot improve your status or repay your effort, that says something important about your character. It says your empathy is still active. It says your warmth is still available. It says your connection style is sincere, not transactional. So if you have ever paused and wondered, why do I talk to my pet like this? Here is the grounded psychological answer. Because your mind is built for relationship. Because your emotional awareness is tuned. Because your nervous system recognizes safe presence. Because expressing feelings out loud helps you stay balanced. And because some forms of understanding do not require words to be real. What looks like a small daily habit is actually a quiet sign of emotional intelligence. At the end of the day, these conversations are not really about getting replies. They are about being genuine without defense. Being warm without fear, being heard without judgment, even in silence. And the ability to keep that kind of emotional honesty is not common. It is a quiet, steady kind of strength.